Lunchtime.
Welcome to Lunch with Jim and Aaron.
The last lunch for a week.
For
2
a week.
weeks.
For the rest of your lives.
This is Jim. This is Aaron. I'm your moderator, Cecily. If you are a club member and you would like to watch this live, then you can go to baldmove.com every Friday at 1 p.m. and we'll be hosting live there. If you want to have a question considered before our live stream, then you can send those to #BaldLunch on Twitter, or you can go to the forums.baldmove.com and you can submit your questions there. How's that? Did I
In a
nail
designated thread.
You guys didn't even have to say your names this time.
Damn.
Yeah, I need to not
In fact, I
respond to emails during the intro.
I got to write a couple
Christ.
articles. Just keep going.
Yeah, dude.
I still
Okay,
have to
well,
get
let me
Pickle-
just
Pick-
continue
Pickle
on
articles
with
written.
telling you what Jim and Aaron's thoughts are this week.
Yes, please. I have a lot of emails to get through.
For about an hour and a half. You guys can just nod if you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
And I'll just
Thumbs
make
up.
things up as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been another week in August.
Another week in August.
It's a hot one.
It's a hot one.
It's a
So I
great
was thinking
time.
maybe we could talk about the weather and make like small chit chat
It's
for
a
a
great
while.
Yeah.
time to be testing all natural deodorant. I'll tell you that. Actually, it is. Turns
can you
out.
send me? Is that my deodorant that
working.
came in?
Yes.
Am I actually
going
gonna
to
have-
finally came in?
Can,
All right.
can you put it on live, please?
Yeah.
No,
Here,
I
armpits
can't.
test well in this demographic. The
Yeah.
lunchtime demographic, all about armpits.
Yeah, armpits and feet.
And apple
And
and
buttholes.
with coconut and vanilla, it's tasty.
Oh, I won't show my armpits, but my butthole.
Butthole, yeah.
Butthole.
Proud of that one. It's really nice
Yeah.
and pink.
I've worked on that.
Voted prettiest butthole of Bald Move.
3 years running.
It's the bidet.
Yeah, that keeps it nice and shiny.
Yeah, it's one of those
Wax on, wax off.
I would love to see it before and after. Like the
Would you
bus-
really love to
No,
see that?
I just no. When I love, I mean, it would be really funny to have like in a bidet, like brochure pamphlet. You go to a bidet trade show, and they've got like if you go to GNC, they got before and after, like dudes sucking in their gut.
Well,
and all
not even
stuff.
that,
You've
but
got,
they
like-
have even like grosser versions. Like if you were to go to like a tattoo removal clinic, they'll show you before and afters. They'll show you
Sure,
like before
sure.
and afters.
Plastic surgery, yeah.
Plastic surgeons, things like that.
So like bidet, but you got like this gray busted up, torn rectum, and then on the right it's all light pink, and they've obviously photoshopped it. There's no wrinkles on it anymore. It's just a smooth rubber ring.
So I guess the question is, have you gotten professional work done in your butthole?
Just amateur basis.
Yeah, they said they didn't have any licenses, but that's as close as I get to professional work.
Yeah, you're recognized amongst your field.
The professionals are expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, what your experience with.
It's too early to start this shit with lunch. This is more of like a trailing off or out of topics kind of
It is
thing.
1 o'clock Eastern time. I'm not sure how it's too early for you guys.
No, I mean too early in the stream of lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I guess we've been starting it off grosser and grosser every week.
Well,
Oh, man, how are we going to top this?
I don't know.
Do you guys have any topics to talk about this week?
We are just because I got cut off with the intro, but we're leaving as soon as this lunch is over to Florida. We're going to go stay. My sister's mother-in-law has a condo down there, and she's offered a couple times over the years, and I'm finally taking her up on it. So we're going to go down there for the better part of a week. Pretty excited about that. Haven't had a warm weather family vacation in a long while. Oh no, I guess I mean, that's the thing is that we went down to see my dad in Florida, but that don't count as a vacation because it's stressful as fuck.
No,
Staying with
nothing
my
to do with
dad?
like your larger family outside of your.
Yeah, like
Is that what a nuclear family is? Everything inside of your home.
Yeah.
So
Is that-
everything
yeah.
outside of your nuclear family is not a relaxing family vacation.
Yeah. But that should be fun.
Is that the definition of nuclear family? I thought nuclear family was like not counting aunts, uncles,
Families
brothers,
within
like
30
aunts, uncles,
kilometers
cousins.
of Chernobyl.
I thought it was like brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, maybe maybe grandparents, but like
Yeah, I thought nuclear family was like mother, father, children. And then
yeah,
you've got your immediate family,
And then
which
everybody
is
else.
like
But
I
also
think your
includes like
grandparents and aunts
step
and uncles,
family
and then you got
members,
extended.
people who are in your immediate circle. I thought that's what nuclear family meant. Maybe I
don't know.
Totally wrong.
It's a good question.
Is also the concept of nuclear like that's like the original marriage too? Because like I feel like that was used to be
Well, what's the opposite term for nuclear family then?
fossil fuel.
Yeah.
Well, this fossil fuel family is driving down to Florida tonight.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, as so the fun things about vacation is you have to get all your work done the week before you leave. So we had to go real ham on these Rick and Mortys, y'all. Real ham. And also, so I had my whole week carefully planned out. Like we were able to get screeners for Harlots. So Cecily and I pre-recorded a Harlots. So it's ready for next Wednesday. So we have to do that down in vacation. The only podcast I have to do from vacation is Jason's Legion podcast. But we got all that queued up, and I had like the entire week exquisitely planned out, like
but
down
what about
to the hour.
Terror? Are you missing the first week of the Terror?
Where that coverage starts today on Bald Move TV.
Oh wow!
But I had it all like planned out. I was going to have him to take my son to get a haircut last night and get an oil change done and get all my packing done. And then because I assumed that this condo would work like every other fucking condo or Airbnb I've ever been to, and you'd go to like some kind of lockbox and hit a code and then the key would pop out. No, my sister had these keys. My sister lives on the southwest side of Indianapolis.
Is this the same sister that came up last weekend and the weekend before?
2 out of the last 3 weekends she's came up,
With the full
and she
knowledge.
texted me like 2 days before the lips and said, "Hey, I just realized that you guys haven't picked up the key," and I'm like, "Oh, for fuck!" So I had to make an emergency 5-hour round trip to Indianapolis and back last night that I did not have any time budget for. So I'm just really, I'm really stressed out. I snapped at Jack pretty hard this morning, and he's like, "Geez," because he was just starting it with this shit. You come in like with some excuse for why he wants to wear this T-shirt, even though it's got a giant hole in it.
Yeah, he had just woken up. He's 12 years old, and he's making illogical choices.
Yeah, and I was just not, and I'm like, "No, take off the damn shirt, put one without a hole on it." Well, but it's like just kind of that kind of thing. And he's like, "Geez." So I was like, what's happening today? We're leaving on a long trip. And Dad's usually kind of on edge before a big long trip anyway, and now he's like on edge with half the budget of time. So let's all try to get through this, boy.
We'll all get through this vacation together.
Yes, yes.
Like the start of a National Lampoon or a Home Alone.
Right.
Plus or minus how many times I'll be like, "Do you want me to turn this vibe around?" before we get down to Florida.
Because it can do it. It can do like 2 or 3 turnarounds.
It has a tight turning radius. It's one of the many fine features of this car.
Did you get your oil changed?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we're good for 5 or 6 turnarounds.
Yeah, at least.
At least you didn't get there and find out.
Huh?
At least you didn't get there and find out that it's not the lockbox thing you thought it was.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario. Because what do you even do? Call a locksmith? I'm sure that would be a big pain in the ass. The thing is I bet it's actually not. There's no way the property management company doesn't have a key. Like, I'm sure there would be like a $20 like remake fee charge, but it probably I should have pulled at that thread. I wish I'd pulled on that thread a little bit, Jim.
Yeah, just call them up and say, "Hey, I got a
Here's a
5-hour trip, or
I just pay you. I will pay you up to $73 is how much I would value that time that I otherwise spent listening to podcasts in my car.
Well, here was my suggestion: was why don't we have his sister overnight the keys to us? It seems like if you pay a certain premium, then you get better service, and absolutely they can guarantee it'll be there by 8, 10, or 8 p.m. or whatever.
And then me, an asshole, said,
"No, you're not an asshole because I currently
I just setting you up.
No, currently working in a logistics company ish that is not Bald Move. I can say that those things are really variable, and it's not worth wasting an entire vacation day for when we had the time last night to drive down there to see whether or not they're going to deliver it in time, and for us to just waste the whole weekend.
Just kick in the door. Because, like, for damn sure, it's not going to cost more than $500 to fix a door.
Absolutely.
Or just bust a window. That's really super cheap to fix.
Yeah.
Saran wrap. Done. Plus, it's like next time you lock yourself out of keys, you're ready to go. Like the next repair, just repairing saran wrap, a new thing of saran wrap, easy peasy.
I'd feel more comfortable doing that if I had gone there first and I could see what exactly we could get away with.
Feel out the vibe. Yeah.
If they have a bunch of like video cameras around,
Sure.
then I can't just blame it on someone who ate too many bath salts and tried to break in for our luggage.
With all the Florida men down there, who could say this stolid Midwestern family would be the one to kick in a door? I mean, that doesn't sound like something that us Buckeyes would do.
Right, exactly.
Us Hoosier
No,
Buckeyes.
Never.
Who guy? He's the dumbest. He's the dumbest
DC's new
Avenger.
character.
Yeah.
It's DC's new character to compete with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Everyone's least favorite Avenger.
His name's Glint. And he's still played by what's his face?
Jeremy Renner. plays
Jeremy
both.
Renner. Yeah, Jeremy Renner plays Glint.
The guy from the
Who
Bond
guy?
movie.
You know, if Ryan Reynolds can play Green Lantern and Deadpool,
Hell
then
yeah.
absolutely.
You go DC
He can
Marvel.
play both. Yeah.
Obviously. You just can't go to Marvel. You can go DC Marvel, you can't go Marvel DC.
Right.
You can, but you don't want to.
Right. It's like in the 80s, like you could do TV and you could do film, but if you did film and went back to TV, you're not coming back to film. You're shunned.
Nope.
Yeah, you went on that goddamn boob tube. Get out of here. Get out of here, leper.
Okay.
That's the sequel for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, by the way.
Get out of here, leper.
It's gonna be Leo slumming
Not sure it's
slumming
the best
back on
title.
TV after the spaghetti westerns died out.
Yeah, Italian TV.
Yeah. Oh my
Ooh,
god.
Italian Spider-Man.
Oh.
So on that fun note,
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I am intentionally preloading this sad kind of news that we want to talk about because it's inescapable to talk about. But there were a number of mass shootings that happened in America in the last week since we did lunch last. Maybe even while we were doing lunch last. I don't know. But a couple of people have asked about it. And this time, one of the shootings was very close to us in Dayton, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away.
Home of Gods of Thrones co-author Anthony.
Did you check on him? Is he okay?
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, he's pretty active in that community. Like there was a Ku Klux Klan rally a couple months ago that he showed up and screamed at him. That's kind of cool.
But I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the politics of it or anything like that. But obviously, we're very saddened for all the lives that are lost and continue to be lost while these things happen. It's gotten pervasive enough that it's touched our community. I have a friend who was friends with people who were there at the bar that night. So that's how much in our orbit it's gotten into. But there were some awful shootings in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio, that don't really have explanations. As much as these people have posted their manifestos, like the El Paso shooter had a right-wing conservative type of agenda. And bafflingly enough, this Dayton, Ohio shooter identified it as a left-leaning person who was very much on the side of like left liberal kinds of ideologies, and had a sister, a brother, now a trans man, who was recently coming out, and maybe people are speculating on that being the kind of driver, because that person also lost their life and was killed by their brother in that shooting. And we don't know. It's all speculation right now. We don't know whether it's because of what that person was going through, or that person was trying to stop his brother from trying to kill more people. We don't know any of those things. And I guess ultimately it doesn't matter. These people, no matter what you really believe in, have problems, and I think that we should be working more towards solving those problems. And I'm not going to identify what the problems are or how
Why
we
not?
should solve them.
Why not?
Because
let's identify them.
I don't know that I can.
Exactly that. I think it's all, the reason why I don't want to identify it is because I think it's all speculation on how those people think and feel. But
Well,
I think
the
they were
El Paso
absolutely
is not
identifying
speculation. He wrote a manifesto saying why he did the things. He's
the El Paso shooting.
Yeah.
Don't confuse these shootings.
I'm
'Cause
not.
El Paso
I'm just
shooter wrote a
saying- I'm just
manifesto
saying
and
that
posted it
let-
on 4chan. This Dayton shooter did not do that.
I know that, but I'm saying you can't dispute that the El Paso's agenda was to terrorize the Hispanic community. I mean, that's just straight up what he was doing, and I doesn't trouble it's not inexplicable to me that a left leaning person would commit violence. I don't know if it's politically motivated violence because anyone can go fly off the handle and kill a family member over some imagined grievance. And I was like, I absolutely think sometime in probably the next decade there will be a broadly speaking left wing leftist kind of shooting like this, where they leave a manifesto about capitalism and bourgeoisie, and you see there's some extreme left wing groups on the internet that have websites where they talk violence and agitation all the time. And I also I'm not going to be the one that says, oh, if we pass certain ban guns or sensible gun control that it's going to stop, because there's just way too many fucking guns in this country. Like, if you stop selling them right now, there's 360 million guns in this country. I think that the only way this is going to stop is if we have. I think this is tied to. We need stronger social safety nets, because a lot of this is essentially people that feel like they're losers and they have no hope, and they have an easy population they can demonize, and a minority population they can demonize, and these populations being demonized in our media and in our streets. And if you remove the cause of that sense of losing, that sense of fear, that sense of oh my God, I'm getting all this shit that I used to have and took for granted stolen by somebody, then this violence will simmer down. But it's weird, because I guess we're kind of living through this soft civil rights struggle, but it's a civil rights for poor and just minorities in general. And every single time we've been through one of those in this country, there's been intense amount of violence, and it usually flares up when there's other economic stresses too. So I think these are going to get worse and worse, because the other thing is, if you are a right or left wing person that wants to subscribe to political violence for a solution, what about the last few months, or especially the last week, is going to dissuade you? Hell, you can be taken. I think we're going to see people manifestoing, shooting up a place, putting their guns down, going spread eagled, and deliberately being caught alive, because then they can continue to make political they can, go through. Imagine the fucking court process that these things are going to go through. I don't feel optimistic about this at all, because underlying issues are not being addressed at all, and there's nothing to discourage the stuff. There's nothing to discourage anyone that wants to do this. It seems like nothing can stop you. If you want to take a bunch of guns to a populated place and start opening fire, you're going to rack up a double-digit body kill. Easy. And you can't harden these targets. What are you going to do? Post National Guardsmen to every fucking park and mall and amusement park and school and hospital and mosque and church and parking lot and festival and concert? No, it's not possible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more that the problem is not just guns. Yeah, we have too many fucking guns, but it's people, like you said, feeling left out, feeling left behind in the changing world. And that shit is accelerating. And it's not just coming from, immigrants. It's coming from technology. It's coming from, immigrants. It's coming from social norms. All of these things are fucking changing fast. And if you, like you said, feel like you had it good before, or had it at least passable before, and now things are getting worse for you, I can see why you'd be angry. I can't see why you would be angry enough to go kill people. But I understand, kind of the mentality that we're allowing to happen simply by not addressing larger problems within our society. It's not just a matter of these people have access to weapons, because maybe they couldn't go out and murder 15 people in a clip, but they would go out and they would do commit violent acts. They would take their cars and they would drive through crowds. They would do there's no way to shut down like that anger, and it's going to bleed into all places. And like what you have to do is treat the cause, not the symptom. And I think gun violence is a symptom of a larger cause.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of things for people to be legitimately angry about. And the thing that seems different in my lifetime that I've observed is like, there seems like there's a critical mass of like disenfranchised groups across a broad spectrum of the politics. And so far they're only angry at each other, and they're being encouraged to do that. And like this will either progress to where like we have some kind of like all out civil war, or we'll have I don't know, or there will be something to take that heat down. But to your point, all these changes that are happening so quickly are just going to accelerate. It's not going to slow down. So like this immigration problem, like these waves of refugees, something we've been saying on this from Bald Move for years. Like this is going to get worse. The economic devastation that in large part our countries and countries aligned with us have wrought on these developing countries, the climate devastation that we've wrought, that is a debt that's going to have to be paid, and it's either going to be paid in money or blood. Like literally you're going to have to stand at the border and shoot waves of people that are trying to come across like some kind of fucking dystopian nightmare, or you're going to have to feed, clothe, and shelter them. And also with your own citizens who are losing their jobs, and their jobs are being automated. And
it's not the fault of the people trying to cross the border.
No, it's not anybody's. Like this is just a really painful point that we have been punting my entire lifetime, while we've had extravagant runs of wealth that we could have been using to solve these problems. We have just been punting. And I think I'm ready to be the generation that says, all right, we are going to tackle it. And we know there are no good answers. There's all the truths are unpleasant, but give it to us straight. And what we need to do, Doc, like I want to be that part of that generation. I hope everybody our age and younger, and hopefully even older, joins in on that. But
okay. I've got one follow-up question from someone in the forums before we move on. Extreme Steve says, I'm absolutely horrified by the recent shootings in our country. However, I really find the guns to be the least interesting part. Political will problems tend to follow those saying about seeming impossible until it seems inevitable. The part of the question I struggle with is what to do about the angry young men who so often commit these horrible acts. How can people who nearly 100% of the time exhibit troubling signs be led to appropriate treatment? How can we do this without sacrificing our values? What is the balance between identifying people who could be a danger without implementing an oppressive Chinese-style social credit system? These types of questions I've really struggled with coming up with an answer to, and I was hoping you had some insight as you were all deep thinkers.
We need more movies like It's a Wonderful Life. We need to...
It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah.
The Christmas movie?
Uh-huh. We need our pop culture. Our culture needs to get back to valuing, caring for each other and the community at large over selfish individual advancement. And we used to be that way, and we were very successful. And we have there. And this is like, especially like if you're a Christian, I can't think of anything you can do that's more important than repudiate the Christians around you that do the like wealth gospel, the dominion gospel. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're a Christian, you should educate yourself, because that shit is just like, it's terrible. And then you've got the secular side of it, which is just greed for greed's sake, I think that just has to change, because otherwise, what I mean, I don't know. Like if that doesn't change, then if people don't see how crazy it is to let people with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars set the agenda for a whole country, then why don't we just admit that we're living back in a feudal society? You know, we've got lords and ladies, and us little people don't matter. Our voices don't matter. And the only time they ever matter is if we rouse up rabble and start threatening, you know. But I don't. God damn, we got to fucking fight a small civil war, burn up a city every time they make people like, oh God, we got to break off a little bit and more piece of bread and give it to people. I mean, Jesus, I don't know.
I think that there is also something to be said for this newly found struggle for equality in the country. And that is, I forget who it was that said this, but when equality feels like oppression, then you understand your own privilege. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's mostly young white men that are really struggling with that maybe have families or societies that are telling them that they should be the strongest alpha male, and they're finding that they're ill-equipped for that challenge. And maybe there's some inherent like psychological or mental health issues, or maybe there's too easy an access to guns for them, but all of those things seem to fit into a way where a lot of people are losing their lives. And I don't think it's any one particular thing that we have to tackle. I think it's all of those things that we have to come together as a country to figure out. Now, I will say that there is something very interesting happening with, and this is going to seem really irreverent at first, but this Old Town Road song that Lil Nas X made. Have you heard the song?
I haven't, no.
It was a song that was made by a black rapper, and he promoted it as a country song. I'm not sure if he had he made his entire album a country album, but he's a black rapper who made one country song. And immediately the people who make the country billboard or control the country music billboard charts were like, this isn't a country song. He's a rapper. This isn't country. And immediately disqualified him and tried to get him taken down from being like the top of the charts. And then
how long was one of Bradley Cooper's songs from that movie on?
Not long enough.
No, on the charts, because I'm sure it hit those. And
oh, absolutely.
He's a fucking actor, not a
right.
Not
He's
a country
never made
musician.
country music before,
right?
Yeah. So what Lil Nas X did was he re-released that song and had an additional chorus, or featuring. What do you call that? Just like a featured
feet.
Let me guess. It was a white country musician.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, fuck me. I was hoping it'd be somebody
good.
At
first. It's going to get better. This song has domineered ever since the edition of Billy Ray Cyrus came out, that this song has really dominated the charts ever since. The only song that's been number one on Billboard before this song, and this song currently has the longest running top of the charts at 19 weeks. The only one before that was the Boys to Men and Mariah Carey song. Oh shit! It's not.
I don't know.
Be My
Baby. Whatever.
I'm certain I've heard it.
It's a super sad one. It's not Be My Baby, and I just forgot the title of it. But he just took her off the charts just within the last week. And also, in the meantime, came out to say that he was gay. He didn't need to, because I think he left a lot of breadcrumbs in this time where, like, maybe people don't need to come out as gay anymore, because why do you need to come out as anything?
It's like no one comes out as straight.
Yeah, I didn't come out as straight when I was a debutante. But that was an additional thing that just really shocked a lot of people. And I think that's really important in this conversation, because it doesn't matter if you're black or gay or a white country musician. I think the biggest heist that the government has pulled on people is making them think that black people, black white-collar people, and blue-collar people, blue-collar people,
Black and blue,
whether
white
they're
blue.
black or white, it doesn't make a difference. because we're all in this same struggle, and to try to create that divide is what creates this kind of power imbalance that creates.
Yeah. It gets you fighting the wrong people.
Right.
Fighting against your own interests in a lot of cases.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just thinking of like all the exciting like rural white and black urban culture fusion mashups you could get if like the
I mean, we've already got Kid Rock. What else do we need?
But
Yeah.
Limp
Why didn't we just
Bizkit.
stop there?
Yeah, no, it's that's exactly right, and I feel that's the other thing that feels a little bit different is you watch these like Democratic debates, and I feel like some of the more progressive messages are resonating with those blue collar individuals of any race, and like holding a path forward to like. This is something we can get behind. It will help everybody. It'll make everybody's life. Like, who doesn't want to not ever have to worry about, whether they can afford to not die because of a treatable, preventable illness.
Or afford to die.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
a big problem, too.
Who doesn't want to know that they'll be guaranteed some basic level of existence, even if their job disappears overseas or because a robot takes it. And you start building there, and you see and see where you get. But I don't know. Like I said, I've economically, I kind of want to. And unless you guys have other stuff to talk about, it's pretty. We've already spent a lot on this particular topic.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to address that and not make this a really heavy lunch, but it was something I think we needed to address. We've got a Jehovah's Witness corner of questions that maybe you guys can answer because you're on the inside.
Yeah.
We're former insiders.
You know,
20
you
years
know
ago.
more than our writer does.
Okay.
Captain Stubby says, my wife and I named our son Jacob. We are not religious. We just like the name. When he was born, we told our neighbors who are religious that we called him Jacob. They kind of sighed and said, well, Jacob did what he had to do, referring to Jacob from the Bible. It seemed obvious that they would never call their son Jacob. What did they mean? The Jacob Wikipedia page is huge and hard to make sense of. What did Captain Stubby's her wife do?
So what he said?
I don't remember
Wait.
the Jacob
Say
story.
it again. I thought this was a blood transfusion thing.
No, they named their son Jacob.
Uh-huh.
They're not religious. They like the name, but their neighbor said, well, Jacob did what he had to do. And now they're left wondering what they did wrong by naming their son Jacob. What were Jacob's tribulations in the Bible?
I mean, Jacob was the founder of the nation of Israel.
Okay, Captain Stubby, I think your neighbors may be some sort of obscure
here's like
religion.
the short term of the myth is like that he was the second born of Isaac, and his brother Esau was in line to get all the benefits, but Esau was kind of a dumbass and more of a hunter gatherer type, and Jacob was more of a shepherd. And when his father was very old and he's about to die, he used a disguise to pretend to be the older son and steal the blessing and the birthright. No, Esau had previously sold the birthright to Jacob for a bite of stew or some shit like that. And then also at some point, Jacob wrestled with an angel. And that's how he got the name of Israel, which means, I think, struggles with God. And then he gave birth to 12 sons, and that was the formation of Israel. But, like, at what point they're talking about him struggling with God or wrestling with God? They're talking about him stealing the birthright?
He did what he had to do.
Are you dealing with a bunch of Esau descendants that are still... Some Edomites? You dealing with some Edomites that are still butthurt about losing that blessing? I don't know. I probably just sparked a religious war. I can't help you with that. I'm mystified.
All right, that's all we've got.
Maybe we're talking about Twilight. That's
Good
not
one.
actually a biblical reference.
Okay,
God.
so you can drop some Twilight knowledge on us.
He was
Yeah,
the
he
wolf.
fucked that baby.
Okay.
He did what he had to
Boy.
do.
It's a wolf to bug that.
How did you know? That's actually a
No,
plot.
That's my biggest
Because
That's actually a plot point.
I wish I didn't know. I wish I didn't.
do. And we know now.
Did you get in on any of the Riff Tracks parties? Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that you.
Okay.
I thought.
Yeah,
I know
we
you
saw
saw
them
all
all.
of them. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
God, those last couple are fucked up. There's a wedding sequence that is just the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
The entire last movie is 3 books. And the last movie, they try to do a Harry Potter thing where they split
They
into
split
2
them.
Oh,
movies.
yeah.
That entire last movie was just like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
As a filmmaker, how do you go to sleep at night? Come on.
You sleep on that big bed of money.
Yep. Very
Beats the pants off of Casper when you're sleeping on $100 million opening weekend.
Just spray it for silverfish and then hop right in.
Have fuel break it in for you because it can be firm.
Oh yeah,
those pallets of cash notoriously firm.
All right. Well, I got a blood transfusion question for you.
Okay, this is the one I saw, and I'm like, where does Jacob have to do with the blood transfusion?
Nate MD says, I'm a pediatrician in Atlanta. In my career, I worked in a children's hospital in Atlanta. They have a large population of children and adults who suffer from sickle cell anemia, as well as a large population of Jehovah's Witnesses.
To suffer from Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, the overlap is huge. We had a system in place with a judge on call 24/7 who could issue a court order for a blood transfusion for a child whose parents refused, but only when at least 2 doctors independently agreed that withholding the transfusion would constitute an immediate threat to the child's life. I personally found it unfathomable to allow a child to suffer or die when life-saving care is easily available, but I was also uncomfortable with the idea that I could place their child's soul at risk without their consent. I quickly came to understand that nearly every parent was obviously relieved when I explained that I would be forced to obtain a court order to transfuse their child. I never had a parent fight me on this. In a few cases, parents even asked for a court order before I even brought it up. This was always struck me as disingenuous. Am I missing some technicality in the JW belief system? It seems to me that if I thought the fate of my child's eternal soul could be jeopardized if they received a blood transfusion, I would fight tooth and nail to prevent that from happening.
Well, that's the problem with believing that is it justifies any behavior in here and now, right?
That's the benefit of being in a cult, I guess.
What do you think, Jim?
I feel like you should absolve yourself of all guilt of potentially dooming the soul of this child because, you know, I doubt God is much of a stickler for the intricacies of U.S. law. And if you can force that upon someone, God would be a real dick. I'm not saying he isn't, but he would be an extra big dick to hold, you know, the child accountable for the legal ins and outs of the system.
Plus, out of the billion Christians on this planet, 7 million of them hold this belief. So the rest of them going to hell? I mean, maybe. I've seen some of these Christians, but yeah, it's like I understand the desire to respect people's religious beliefs, but god damn, with kids, man, with kids. Or I tell you what, like, you know, I've known a young witness mother die from not taking a blood transfusion, and like, I wish a court could step in and stop that. But yeah, no, I've observed that with a lot of Jehovah's Witness beliefs that there's laws on the books that like a lot of people know that like you don't necessarily follow them. Like it's fairly uncommon in my experience for parents, if they have disfellowship children, to completely cut them out. Like they usually have some back channel contact. Maybe they have dinner every couple months or they see the grandkids or something. There's like an understood arrangement to where you don't talk about it and you don't rub it in people's faces, but people, you know, like the family ties are strong. But the law on the books is you cut them off, and when you get a person as legally minded like my mother, you know, they take a hardline stance on that. So I think that you're seeing, you're probably like no parent wants their child to die and they could make a decision to save their life. So I think there is something to that psychology of like, ooh, thank God we didn't have to be the ones to break the divine law, but the courts and the judges, and they got guns, and what are you going to do? And
God's not going to hold them accountable for that, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're running up against the limits of faith. Honestly, like that's, you know, they talk all the time about the tests that you'll have to endure on your faith, and that's certainly one of them. That's probably the most severe test, I would imagine.
But who knows what they'll ask? You know, that's the thing. The scary thing about cults is that, every couple of years there'll be this like kind of grim directive to like, no matter what, you want to follow the direction of your elders and the governing body, the rulers of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and people always kind of, the witnesses will whisper amongst themselves like, oh, the brothers are talking. I wonder if Armageddon's finally coming. But like, if one of those directives is every congregation in the world has just received 1 kilogram of brown powder, mix it into a Dixie cup, and ingest it at the next meeting, how many witnesses would do that? And the number's not fucking zero, not by a long shot.
The would do it? Yeah, I agree. There are a lot that would do that.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot that wouldn't.
I think there's a lot that wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like probably a shocking amount.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing
is that 900 people in Jonestown.
So here's like why
women, children, elders.
But here's here's another point to like before we feel like superior to cultists, because like if tomorrow they did that, I would say probably 90% of people walk out, 10% take the fucking powder. But over the next 20 years, if they just push a little bit, like, we need you to send half of your money and your savings every year. We need you to promise your firstborn to 5 years of service in Bethel. We need you to, like, if they kept on doing those, like, each individual step is kind of sort of reasonable or in line with Bible principles, you condition. That's how the brainwashing works. And it's really slowly and subtle, and you, that's the thing I think that's scary about the world conditions is today, is that we've always thought, like, whenever we were looking back and thinking about like the lead up to World War II, it's like, what was wrong, like what happened in Germany couldn't happen here, but that's never like Hitler gets sworn into power in death camps. It's a slow brainwashing of the culture. And I feel like our culture right now is having that slow brainwashing happening right now. And it will work on a Jehovah's Witness parent, and it'll work on you if you don't keep your fucking head on a swivel.
Well, in that vein, Odobo wants to know, Aaron, how politically aware is your son? How often, if at all, do you talk to Jack about politics?
I think I talk to him about politics all the time. He's very curious and inquisitive, and I'm reading about stuff a lot, and then listening to stuff and watching stuff a lot, and he asks questions, and he's 12, so like he gets a lot of details wrong and stuff, but like
tell him about the haircutter today.
So he goes to get his haircut at this barbershop in Marymount, and he always talks up science or whatever thing he's interested with the ladies. And they always think it's funny. This kid's just telling him about the latest, SpaceX shit and the Apollo anniversary, and holding court about tardigrades and how they can survive in deep space and shit. Today I'm listening and I'm reading a magazine, and he's starting to that stuff, and they get into some talking about, I don't know how I got, but like my ears perked up when he's talking about and now people are dying of measles and polio because people aren't vaccinating the kids, and the woman's an anti-vaxxer.
Oh boy.
And I looked and like I could see him shifting like diplomacy mode, because he's like, well, I'm sure you have your reasons for not vaccinating your kids, and then they kind of like had this like slow fencing match, and I'm like, lady, my 12-year-old's handing your ass, and he's being nice about it. Like, come on, get off the like. And I get it. There's people that do, have issues with vaccines, or there's allergies, there's some kind of reactions, there's a genetic mismatch or whatever. But that's just all the more reason the rest of us, anyone that doesn't have a valid medical, if your doctor says, oh yeah, we shouldn't vaccinate your kids, fine. Everybody else vaccinate your kids. And if not, if you don't think so, I'll have Jack come on and debate you.
I was telling him that before I left today, that he handled that much better than I would have as an adult. I would have started a fight. I want to interrupt this podcast real quick to just say that a couple people in the forums have said that both of your mics are super loud.
Super loud?
Super loud. They
super
said
loud?
that the output is hot. Holy loud output on Jim and Aaron's mics.
It's a little hot. It's at -6 dB. Hot? That's Turn your shit down.
Let's pump up those
volume
numbers.
down,
Was
you
Cecily
monsters.
like quiet in comparison?
I'm always quiet in comparison, so
No,
I don't
she's
think I have a
not.
good basis.
It doesn't seem like it. No.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, at the beginning of this, we were definitely hot. We were peaking at 0 dB.
Okay, well maybe.
But I dropped down like 15 minutes ago, so
Did you drop it because it's hot?
I had to. Yeah, it was burning my ears.
Is it?
Yeah. Never
Can you
mind.
guys just fire me now? I don't want to be a part of this. These bad puns. All right. Nathan on Twitter says, with the pricing of Disney Plus being announced, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus being priced at $12.99 per month, does that make that an instant yes for you?
We talked about that at length with the Industry Insider on today's episode of Bald Move TV.
Have to subscribe. No, you don't have to
No,
subscribe.
that's free for everybody.
A,
it's free
you're
for
already
everyone.
subscribed, and B, it's a free podcast.
But I mean, you have to subscribe though
I
if you
mean-
really want to get like that quality
True.
audio output. Like for non-subscribers, it's just got like this fuzzy undertone.
The problem with me for that bundle is like I want to pay $4 more for a Hulu without commercials bundle. Because that is the Hulu with commercials included in that. And also ESPN, if you think that ESPN Plus is anything like having ESPN on cable, you're sadly mistaken. Like, it's all about soccer and pay-per-view MMA, and that's about it.
That was my thought, is that they're giving away ESPN essentially for free.
But they're not.
How?
ESPN Plus is not ESPN. It doesn't include any of ESPN's content. It's literally only
I'm
soccer.
saying, but the what they are giving away as part of this package is essentially for free.
yeah.
Because
The ESPN Plus is basically free. Yes.
Right, because
It
we're
is
still going to
basically
pay
free,
for like
yes.
Sunday morning or Sunday day football, Thursday night football, all that stuff. That's still going to be paid. Everything ESPN they're giving away as a part of this package
But
is
I just as long as people know that ESPN Plus does not include any of ESPN's programming
Right.
content.
Yep.
Except for, like I said, there's lots of side. They have a deal with the MLS, and I think even the Premier League. What is the actual like the world anyway? It's soccer and MMA. But I don't know. Like, yeah, we talked a lot about it on the Bald Move TV thing.
Yeah, it's a no for me. Like, I don't want to watch Hulu with ads. I don't give a shit about ESPN.
Right.
And I can get Disney without those other things for cheaper. So, yeah, I'm not going to subscribe to that. I will almost certainly subscribe to Disney Plus, though.
But I think if you're going to ask everyone in the room, then it is automatically a yes because we
Yeah.
are being paid to review all of this stuff. So
Oh yeah, we'll get it's just we
Well, that's the
probably
thing.
won't
Like,
bundle it
in
up.
my reviews, I don't want to waste fucking time watching ads on Hulu. So, like,
no.
I won't get the bundle. What I'll do is I'll get Disney Plus and I'll get a paid ad-free Hulu subscription.
We already have
we
a
already
paid
have.
ad-free Hulu subscription. We'll probably just subscribe.
Yeah.
We'll add on Disney Plus to that, and then
Exactly.
bada bing, bada boom. And that's a cool feature.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that a lot of these things are going to start partnering up, so you can subscribe like almost painlessly between them. It's like just adding an extra service to an existing service is going to be. And we talk about that on the podcast too. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. So the next two questions have to do with Bald Move Tech, and I'm going to ask them in succession.
Technical order.
From Tyler on Twitter, he says, what tech is the Bald Move site built with? Do you use any front-end frameworks, Bootstrap, jQuery, probably? Do you pay any attention to new web dev technologies? Talk coding with me, you dirty boys. I can't believe you made me read that. Rude. Captain Tripp says, I know you've talked about this in bits and pieces in the past, but can we get a quick rig rundown of your audio setup? You guys get a super clean and loud output from the 58s.
Extremely loud. Too loud, some say.
Do you do anything to boost the signal before your interface? Any serious post effects you can't live without? Thanks.
Yeah. So
It's your time to shine, Jim.
The website is built on WordPress, and yes, it uses Bootstrap, it uses jQuery, it uses a lot of custom just JavaScript on top of jQuery. I don't really keep up on modern stuff. Like, for a while, I got into Ruby, doing like Ruby on Rails, and I got into a little bit of Node and stuff when.
Isn't Ruby like an Apple exclusive
No.
type of?
No, it's a lot of developers who use Apple products like to program in Ruby.
Okay.
Specifically Rails. But yeah, about the time that we like maybe started, full time on this, I stopped really paying attention to new tech in that field because like I didn't have the time. Even if it was like, oh, I need to redo something on the website, I'm going to use the old tech to do it because I don't have the time. And if shit gets so outdated that it's not usable anymore, we'll just pay somebody to do it now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't keep up on that stuff. Our rig, as far as audio goes, we go from these SM58 mics into a Focusrite Scarlett. Is that what it's called? Scarlett 18i8.
Yeah.
Audio interface, USB audio interface.
By Focusrite.
We don't have any hardware other than that between the mics and the computers. So we don't use any like other amps or anything like that. No EQs, no compressors, no physical compressors. But on the software effects plugin side, we use since we moved to this new studio, we're using 3 effects processing plugins. One is noise removal, adaptive noise removal. The other is a compressor, and the last one, which I just started using to kind of eliminate this annoying air conditioning sound, is an EQ to remove some of the low end.
So taking all the big nuts out of my voice.
Yeah, I have to because it conflicts with the AC. There's an AC unit AC right above my head here that you can kind of hear rumbling.
That's what we should do if we're going to keep this studio like kind of like it is for a little for longer. We might think about seriously moving it to that side to get away from some of that noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that we've got that kind of marked and it won't be disturbed.
But what was the other thing I wanted to? That adaptive noise remover is so fucking magical.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so cool to like slap down on a track and just like play and listen to it, just like squeeze that noise until it's gone.
Yeah, it's one of those live things that you sort of like.
Like I was doing a lot of repair, and she was doing a podcast. It was a test podcast with another podcaster, and there was like it was a phone call, so the audio wasn't great, and there was also. It was my home rig, so there's a low hum, and I thought I'd have to use several filters. So I just threw that on there, and I could hear it like squash the noise down. And then when the person was talking, I'm like, oh, the thing is they're pretty. And as I was thinking that, it tweaked it until they sound. I'm like, holy fuck, that is goddamn. The Adobe Suite is pretty nice if you can afford it. Like I thought what you could do with Audacity was pretty amazing, but like those filters are so primitive compared to what.
Oof. I don't recommend Audacity anymore because it's a linear editor. It's not.
What's a good one that's open source, like or it's free? Like I've heard that there's like one called like I think Loop or something.
We've been using this for so long.
Yeah,
I don't even know anymore.
No, Audacity. There's probably better free editors out there because it's also a destructive. Was that what you're talking about?
Yeah, linear versus and it's destructive. So you drag one clip over another, and the portion of that clip that got buried is gone.
Mm-hmm. Whereas you never touch the original audio, you're just essentially marking up a file that says all the things to do when you render it.
Yeah, in Audition.
Yeah, which is more intensive processor-wise, but it's like from a, oh shit, I didn't mean to overwrite that. Oh fuck, it's gone angle. It's way superior. And
you might be able to hear a difference because the low end removal, the EQ I do, I've only been doing on Rick and Morty because I just started doing it on the Rick and Morty stuff, so you might be able to hear a little difference between this recording. But listen to the MP3 because the video is something entirely different.
Yeah, it's just live. It's just weird.
Yeah.
We ought to, and we've got a sound engineer that's going to be helping us out in the next couple weeks. I would love to get physical compression back just for the live stuff.
Yeah, be nice.
But I want it to be. I also want it to go out completely clean to the actual recording, so that we can do all post processing there. But like, it would be nice to have something that could be in between there to tweak some of these settings. Because I miss the old Behringer where you could just crank that compression and scream into the mic or whisper, and you knew it was going to just be fine. Now I have to modulate and lean away and do this, and it's.
All right, gentlemen. We've got 30 minutes left, so speed round on something I don't want to speed round. Teresa says, often I think the movie TV show should not have been done the first time, or why are they messing with the classic, or shouldn't have been done the first time.
What?
I'm very confused already.
Oh, sorry. She's talking about reboots.
Oh.
This shouldn't have been done the first time, and why are they messing with the classic? I would love to know one movie and TV show you feel should be or is deserving of a reboot.
I mean, Highlander is my go-to answer now. Highlander is a badass concept that had C- execution at best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Commando. Get fucking Dave Bautista, just fucking do Commando. And just do shot for shot, except for take all the bad guys and cast plausibly threatening dudes in those positions.
Put
Wait,
them
are
all
you
in
trying
mesh
to suggest
shirts.
that Adrian Brody isn't a good replacement for Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator?
I am indeed saying that. All
right.
The worst. I can't. That choice is unfathomable to me. But
yeah, TV show. I don't know. Could you like an Airwolf? I'd like to see an Airwolf reboot. Like with big budget special effects.
I was having trouble thinking when they haven't already rebooted.
Right.
Knight Rider's gotten fucking reboots, and MacGyver's gotten reboots, and
Jan Michael Vincent just died. Do like gets an interest in Airwolf
Jan
spike.
Quadrant Vincent 16. That needs
reboot
to be,
Friends.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
No.
Every generation gets its friends.
Mhm.
It's like Degrassi. I don't even know if it's like that. The only thing I know about Degrassi is Drake was in it.
Yeah, no, I was a big Degrassi fan when I was 16,
But it's generational, right?
17.
Like it's always running and there's always new, right? That's how it works, or no?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's still going, but that was absolutely the case.
That'd be a cool hook for Friends. Like if it's just always those two apartments, and then it's like who moves in and out of them over the years.
Except when they get some tenants that are like not on board with the television program, and it's just like an old person over here that doesn't like the person over here.
Then
they just yell at each other.
Then
about
it becomes
the
a
noise
Golden
they're
Girls
making.
remake. You have a whole bunch of
All right,
like
yeah.
70-something
Now's the time.
Manhattanites
Where does How I Met Your Mother take place? Where is that set?
in hell.
It's in New York.
Is it? Take Seinfeld, Friends, and
It's in
How I
one of
Met Your
those big
Mother.
That was
cities.
Boston.
No,
Is it New York?
no, it's New York.
Okay.
Take all those shows, Seinfeld, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, and just say these apartments are all in the same building, and then create a show around that.
It's a
I
super
love
group.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes place in New York City's Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Allison Hannigan making like a comeback, and Jason Segel making his debut, I guess. Neil Patrick Harris doing his first big-ish role since Doogie Howser, maybe.
Yeah,
did you guys
on
watch any
TV,
of that?
certainly.
That was an interesting show.
Doogie Howser? Yeah, that was... I haven't seen it in 30 years, but yeah.
I was saying Jason Segel didn't even have a career. That's kind of harsh.
No, Freaks and Geeks. I mean, he was good on
Plus,
TV.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the Muppets.
No, I'm
movie?
saying... No, How I Met Your Mother came before Forgetting Sarah Marshall and...
Mm-hmm. So you said he's not had a strong post-How career.
No, I'm saying at the time that show premiered, Allison Hannigan was already famous for Buffy.
Oh, I see.
I think.
Yeah,
And
and
then
American Pie.
Jason
like,
Segel, American Pie, I think may have been before that, and then Jason Segel didn't have anything big motion picture until after that show, I think.
I can't believe that Jason Segel's
That might
only
be true.
39 years old.
What? No,
That blows my mind. I thought he was going to be older than me.
I'm
Wow.
still waiting every
Yeah.
day for his vampire puppet show
Oh, yeah.
that he did in Forgetting Sarah Marshall too.
Oh, God.
It was so good. It was so good. Do you disagree?
No, but yeah, I
Well,
could
it's
see it like
it's
a one-man
bad, but-
John Leguizamo
Yeah.
or Billy Crystal, like just one-man show up on stage doing that.
I just feel like
maybe,
it holds
but it's
up.
one of those shows that they wrote. I'm sorry, they did like a musical in universe that was
Right.
actually really good. Like sometimes they write pop hits that suck in the movie universe, but that one was really good.
I feel like it's really good in the same way that like interdimensional cable skits, like one of those is like some of those are
Those
like
are all
really good
really
and
good.
intriguing, but could get it's good in like a 2-minute chunk, but like
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
show.
It's like Charlie's Day Man, Night Man Cometh. Night Man
Oh
Cometh.
yes.
I would watch a full length of that.
I admittedly I would, yeah.
I am someone who just watched the musical Cats, and I realized that people can make a hit Broadway show out of fucking anything.
Yeah, we watched Cats this weekend. I saw
Jellicle musical makers can make Jellicle musicals out of whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. You rhyme Jellicle with Jellicle, and
Yeah,
making
there you
musicals
go.
is easy.
It's a
That's
hit.
the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
I saw it in my mid-20s, and I told Cecily, I'm like, because we saw the like Broadway recording, and I said, imagine seeing this only from 200 feet away without the benefit of subtitles. Like I thought the play was incomprehensible nonsense when I saw
The
it.
stars from Cincinnati. That's fun.
Yeah, and then it's true. And then when I saw this, I'm like, okay, well now I get the nope. I still don't understand.
Nope.
I still don't
Doesn't make
understand. It's
sense.
really weird, off-putting play for me. But I'm still going to see the movie because it looks that only even crazier.
Well, on that point, Murder Bear says, "What's your favorite movie soundtrack?" My all-time answer has always been a tie between The Crow and Spawn. However, there are two recent-ish parody movies that might also deserve the top spot: Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story, and Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. The movies themselves are damn near perfect, and since they're music parody movies, the soundtracks are top-notch, but will probably be overlooked by many since they are only goofy comedies.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World saves the world is a pretty strong
It's a good
soundtrack.
one. Yeah. The Crow had a good soundtrack. I actually like the Crow City of Angels soundtrack a lot. I will listen to that a bunch when I was a teenager.
You know what? Cruel Intentions was a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it was.
I got introduced to Placebo that way.
Man. So before the podcast, I tried to look this up, and I could not find out who did a cover. I could have sworn it was on the Crow City of Angels soundtrack, but it's Red Right Hand, but it's not Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I thought it was David Arquette's band, and I can't think of the name of the band, and I went to his Wikipedia page and tried to look it up. Nothing on there about a band. Am I insane? Have I lost my damn
You
mind?
just woke up in the wrong dimension.
I feel like I
It's a
did.
Berenstain Bears phenomenon, man.
Shit. I'm C-135 in the wrong dimension. Yeah, I swear, David Arquette has it has a name sort of like Power Man 5000. I think it has like a big 1,000 number in it. I just can't think of the name of it. But yeah, there are a lot of good songs on that. There's like Stevie Nicks doing a Gold Dust Woman cover.
Shut up. On Red Right Hand?
No, on the City of Angels
City
soundtrack.
of Angels.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not the
That's
Nick
the sequel?
Cage.
That's the second
Yeah.
movie to The Crow?
Yes. That one's great. Lost Highway I really liked. It had a lot of like Nine Inch Nails and industrial kind of stuff on it. Hate the movie. The movie sucks. It's David Lynch, but love the soundtrack.
Any soundtracks you love
I
besides
threw out
Cats?
one. I threw out one.
Yeah.
I threw out Scott Pilgrim.
Mr. Janine Restrepo wants to build off of this and say, what is your favorite video game soundtrack? Personally, Fight Night Champion takes the cake.
Do we count like scores, original scores? Because
Yes,
Zelda is
absolutely.
just like maybe number one. Kid Icarus comes in a damn close second, but
Yeah, there was someone who threw out Mortal Kombat.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of like
Mortal Kombat.
if we're just going for themes like the mission.
No,
original
just soundtrack.
No, but
which
I'm
can
saying-
include a theme.
Right, but I'm like the Mortal Kombat soundtrack I think is garbage.
It's mostly
it had
the
a
theme.
couple banger dance
Yeah.
hits, but like
Finish him.
by that measure, like the original Mission Impossible soundtrack is really good too.
We're
Like,
talking about
it's-
video games.
and like the GoldenEye soundtrack is really good.
Right.
Oh wait,
Are those different from the movie soundtrack?
sorry, I thought you were going back to the other one. I'm sorry.
No. Mr. Janine Restrepo was building off of that and saying, what's your favorite video game specific
Mech
soundtrack?
Warrior 2.
There's a game I
That's a
played
good one.
a couple of years ago called Transistor.
Yep.
Did you play that? That soundtrack
Uh,
was really great and really sticks in my
Bastion
mind.
Yes,
is also
I was
very
gonna say
good.
Bastion is one of the best damn. I actually listen to the Bastion soundtrack, which is a lot to say for a video game soundtrack because
Yes.
I normally don't.
I also listen to the Rocket League soundtrack a lot.
Also-
yeah, it's got like Dr. Awkward songs on it. It's really good.
The GoldenEye original soundtrack is quite good too. There's
Yes.
there's a remix album out there that's floating around
Huh.
places you can get that's really good. It might even be just like a piracy only kind of thing. but it was like some kind of community remake where they're going to try to remake GoldenEye and Steam.
Yeah.
Or not Steam, whatever the fucking what is the Valve engine, Source engine? Yeah, you could get all the MP3s from that, and some of those were some tasty beats.
I will say, now that I'm thinking about it, I am specifically working on trying to break my PlayStation Classic now that I've gotten it. To
break it?
Yeah.
Jailbreak it.
Oh, okay. You could do that with a hammer pretty quick. I don't know how much work is required.
To add a lot of like the first generation PlayStation games that I'm missing out on, like Spyro or Gex, which is GoldenEye made me think of it.
Yeah, apparently all you need to like load any PlayStation 1 game that you want on it is a thumbs drive, a powered USB hub, and that's it.
Right. It seems like the only thing that they've installed on the device itself to stop you from doing that is just the like battery voltage or outage.
The voltage to the controller, the USB controller out, is not high enough to run a thumbstick, but you get around that by plugging in the USB hub that's powered.
Right. Yeah, and the code is just like
just immediately reads
it. Does it just play standard ROMs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It looks. I'm gonna do, like, when we get back to vacation, I'm gonna take a serious look at it. But
I'm currently researching the kind of equipment that we're gonna buy. Just like, well, I don't have to research a USB, but just like the power splitter. So if you don't want to use an input port in the front to take away from controller power, there's a way to reroute it in the back.
Well, also I saw the real hot one was to go to like a micro center or something and get one of those pins where you can draw circuits on a circuit board. It actually leaves metal conductive, and there's a thing where you just take that pin and you just do an L shape to another lead, and it bypasses that voltage regulator. And then it's like, so however much those pins cost, you unscrew it, go beep beep on a circuit board, and it's done.
It's slightly more advanced than I can do, but there's all kinds of options that I definitely got that PS Classic when it was on sale. And
how much did we pay for that?
$20.
Damn, what a deal!
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it just for the games it's on it. But if it's a PlayStation emulator, PlayStation emulator, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Only problem. The only downside is it's not dual analog.
Yeah, the controller.
It's the original PlayStation controller, so you only have the D-pad and one analog. But I imagine that will work for most games.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Jerry Ronnie says that sounds like 3 people.
Hold on a second, Joe Jerry Ronnie. Does it have standard PlayStation controller inputs?
No, it's USB, but I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise you to know it's pretty easy to hack it to where it accepts.
Yeah. Just
DualShock.
Do yours have standard?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't opened mine.
Okay.
So I didn't know. My solution to it is just have like 7 PlayStations and about 100 games. That's my solution.
EBTH just, sorry to digress here, but EBTH just sold and listed Nintendo NES in its original packaging that's never been opened.
How much did that go for?
I don't know yet. It's not sold, but it's just
okay.
Going.
You got to tell me about it. Now we got to cut this out of the podcast.
Does it come with Roby?
You can buy it right now.
Oh, is it Rob? It's Rob. Rob Roby or something.
It's a box that's like, you can't even see it in my hands on the screen right here, but it's like 2-3 feet long.
Well, and
it comes with the the shooter.
Yeah, it's probably an action set. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one of those, but mine's opened.
When it goes live, I'll show it to you.
Have you had a Rob?
So impressed.
I haven't. No.
I'm surprised because it's kind of just a cool thing, right?
Like, it is. Yeah. I have this weird hang up about like I want original packaging and stuff, and those are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Really? I bet.
This thing is choice because it was not only that, but it was also a shit ton of Star Wars specific toys that were like the AT-AT Walker that you described to me that your cousins had that you didn't get to have, those types of things, all in original packaging. And I was like,
yeah,
I don't even know how to describe these guys, but I will let you know when it goes live. Joe Jerry Ronnie says, a while ago, I was listening to a podcast and the guest was asked, what is the most relevant piece of wisdom your father ever shared? Her answer, with the requisite chagrin, was youth and enthusiasm will always be defeated by old age and treachery. Do you feel this is a true statement or not? Why? Or why not?
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I want to say I hope not.
Oh, the other thing is, like, what if, like, so old age and treachery implies a certain, I don't know that, like, treachery is the word I have a problem with, because just because you're cunning and wily does not mean you're evil. Like, I hope that, you know, when like my generation grows up, that we don't insert our head up our asses like so many generations have before us. I don't know if that's an inevitable process or not, but like if you had, you know, good leadership that's using their cunning and guile in ways to help maximum numbers of people, I don't have any problem with that. But what it seems like, you have a bunch of old fuckers just using their power and guile to keep everybody down, and that sucks, obviously. But yeah, I mean, experience like counts for a lot. Experience and I mean, age implies you've had a longer time to collect resources and to build connections and to consolidate power. Like lots of advantages, it seems like, to the old age category.
Yeah, it seems like treachery is a little bit of a poor adjective for that, I think. Just because you've lived longer and you've learned more doesn't necessarily mean that you're willing to use it against younger people. But
Right.
if they were pitted against each other, then yeah, knowing more and living longer will absolutely give you the advantage there.
Also, if we're talking about purely physical contest, that's a laughable joke.
Yeah, just
Oh,
wait
I've
till I
got-
get my robot legs.
Right. Right, because you just go for the hip break.
I'll take on the
It's-
youngest of all of them.
Like I want to see your old age and treachery to overcome a broken hip, Grandpa.
Yeah.
I've got a purely physical challenge for you.
Oh yeah.
Adoba wants to know 3 Aarons versus The Rock, who wins?
I like the chances of 3 Aarons.
I got an
that's
opinion on this, yeah.
that's a lot of beef coming at him with coordinated attacks, just like Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah. No, I think 3 Aarons could take a rock.
Yeah, like one on each arm, and then the other one's trying to get him on the ground, and then we got him. But like my son, I shocked him. He's like, "Would you fight the Rock?" And I'm like, "Fuck no! I would do whatever it took to run or get away." Like, no, look at him, man. He's got like 4 inches of height and got 100 pounds of pure muscle at least on me.
Right. So
No
if there's
fucking
3 of
way.
you, then it's a fair fight.
I mean, yeah. I mean, then the mass is back into my
Would 3
masses of my.
regular-sized Aarons want to fight a regular-sized Rock, or 3 rock-sized Aarons fighted rock-sized Aaron?
Fight
Yeah,
Aaron-sized
3
rock.
rock-sized Aarons would kick the shit out of an Aaron-sized rock. Yes, yes, yes.
It would take at least 10 of me to fight the rock.
I would kick
100
Maui's ass between the
duck-sized
shoulders.
Yeah.
gyms to fight
100
a
gym-sized
rock-sized
ducks to take out the rock.
Oh God.
I was wondering the other day when we were doing our UFC thing, I was in my head I was questioning, like, okay, what is an animal that I don't think I could kill with my bare hands, but I don't think it could kill me either? Like, what animal could I fight that would be a complete stalemate if it was to the death?
I remember you asking this.
And
yeah.
I think the answer is a cow.
A cow?
Yeah, like a dairy cow.
Not like a
something
bull.
without
Okay, okay.
without
Not a bull.
horns.
Yeah.
Something that isn't super aggressive. Like, I don't know how I would go about killing a cow.
Yeah. But
With
you
my
don't-
bare hands.
You don't think the cow could kill you?
If I got stupid, maybe if I tried to like roll it over.
Underestimated
and-
the dairy cow.
Right.
And like stomp your ribs too much?
Yeah, but if I kind of just kept my distance, chose my spots, bobbed and weaved.
Right. It charges, you roll. Yeah.
But I don't think there's a blow I could deliver to a cow that would
Knock it out. Yeah.
that would destroy it. Yeah.
What if you got like a good rear naked choke on the jugulars?
Yeah?
You just choke that cow out. Their necks are like
Yeah, that's the problem.
6 foot diameter. Yeah.
And strong.
Uh huh.
I don't know that I could do it.
I think I could beat the shit out of a cow.
But could you kill it with your bare hands? That's
Kill it
the
with bare
question.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah, is there an animal that you think that you couldn't kill, but also couldn't kill you?
I mean, it's right there. Yeah, it's
A
right
cow
at the
size?
cow. It's at the cow line for sure.
All right. My animals are much smaller.
Uh huh.
Andrew says, if you 3 were to partake in a round-robin arm wrestling tournament, who would come in first, second, and last? Ooh,
I
not even
mean-
third, just last.
I mean, so it's
If the answer is overwhelmingly in favor of Aaron, what if he had to do 25 push-ups before each match?
I mean,
the different muscles, man. Different muscle
Didn't we
groups.
just do this? I arm wrestled Aaron recently in like the second to last UFC thing that we did.
did you really? I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that.
I feel like you arm wrestle me like once a month. Like you'll issue the challenge, and then it's like,
That's my old instincts kicking in.
Then it's
Me,
like-
constantly trying to compete with my brothers. And
then it's like, okay, I'm gonna use both my arms and try to beat you that way.
So 25 push-ups before we arm wrestle. Can
I
you
mean, 25 is a lot.
Jim?
There's
25
different
is a
muscle
lot.
groups, though.
Yeah, but it's my arm would be feeling pretty rubbery. I don't.
but only your
just rip off-
tricep. It's all about biceps. And then
See, my son and
See,
I have been
Jim's
doing
got-
like in
Jim-
the morning. We do like a routine of like push-ups, sit-ups, and planks.
Oh, shit.
So like I'm getting my upper body in a little bit better shape nowadays.
Okay, so if Jim and I combine our hands against you at the same
There you go.
time.
I can't.
Might
I
have a
couldn't-
chance.
I couldn't win. I couldn't win. It's too much beef. It's a 3 Aarons versus a Rock principle. There's too much beef coming at me.
Tulip.
I actually I bet
Okay.
Jim's right arm can beat my left arm.
Let's see it right now.
No, you got leverage and strength. Guaranteed.
Just go over the top, man.
Fair.
Over the top.
I can't dispute that.
So and the best place to go over the top is when you're on the bottom. That's when the
Yeah.
leverage works in your favor. Just relace your fingers, but you'll be fine.
Right. You can't go over the top when you're already on top.
That's right. That means that it's an oxymoron. It's like dividing by zero. You can't do that.
Yeah, if I get into a really skinny tank top, I could definitely beat you.
Turn that trucker cap around backwards. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Von Dutch trucker cap. Tulip Blossom says, given the choice, would you choose cake, ice cream, or ice cream cake?
I love ice cream cake.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody not?
And it's like it's a rare treat. No one thinks to get it.
Because they really only sell it at like
Dairy Queen.
the Dairy Queen and like they kind of. I feel like they hide it away. At the
Grater's has
delis,
got pretty good
or the delis,
ice cream
the
cakes.
bakeries. Grater's does.
Yeah.
We're lucky enough to live close to a city that specializes in doing ice cream creations, and they do a few ice cream cake things. Just like their 3 most popular flavors, which are things that I don't really like that much, like black raspberry chocolate chip.
That sounds good though. That's the only one that sounded good. I thought though.
Yeah.
Because like one is really peanut butter heavy, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
that
they're
sounds
a
so
lot
heavy.
like kid-friendly
Sounds so rich,
flavors.
yeah.
But
Yeah, rich. Yeah.
Even the black raspberry chocolate chip sounds a little too rich for me. I like
Yeah.
brighter flavors. We went to this it starts with an A. I can't think of the name of it. They've got a couple of locations here in Cincinnati. Had really good ice cream. I got chocolate chip mint, which is one of my favorites. That was really good. I like the more refreshing flavors, not so much the really rich
Heavy,
stuff.
Yeah. Second part to this question from Tulip Blossom is Downton Abbey going to be a bald movie? I don't see Jim watching it, but I'd love it if Aaron and Cecily did a review.
We actually had because that week
It comes
is
out in
the-
September, and I don't. And
Oh no.
actually-
That week is the movie fucking apocalypse.
No, it's
There's-
a day that like 4 things come out. Downton Abbey happens to be the lowest priority.
Well, we were thinking about like, what if we got a screener ticket for? I think it's like Rambo, Downton Abbey, and what else? I mean,
Yeah.
I'll pull it up while you guys are talking. But we thought it's like, man, what if we got like a industry screener for one? We went to see one Thursday night, and then we saw Downton Abbey like Friday morning, and we just fucking did. It's like, fuck it, do them all. Because they're all like, when I see the schedule, it's a fucking murderer's row. Oh Jesus! Ad Astra,
Right.
Rambo, Last Blood, Downton Abbey. I mean, even just Ad Astra, Rambo. It's like, good God! And then you throw you and I's love for Downton Abbey. That's
What are you going to do?
I think that's not a non-serious suggestion. Like I would like to see all 3 of those movies and just fucking blow that week because it's.
But, like, if you were
there's
gonna
going to be a
like,
long dry
prioritize
spell
those-
leading up to this. There's nothing coming out in August. Like The Kitchen. By the way, we were going to see The Kitchen. We got up to yesterday, and it was getting 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Also,
And then
not showing at any of our theaters.
Also
so-
not
Oh,
show,
really?
and also I had the Thursday night emergency trip to Indianapolis, so we will not be showing The Kitchen. The next, but there's almost nothing in August, so I wouldn't mind juicing things with a triple header.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to it, I think we're going to see Ad Astra.
Yes, if we had gun to our head, make a decision. And
Yeah.
Cecily, I would probably see Downton Abbey that Friday and talk about it over the weekend because definitely want
Bald
to.
Move does historically do Downton Abbey coverage.
I love Downton Abbey.
Noel wants to know, what's a film most people seem to enjoy but you just don't get? I remember Aaron saying how much he doesn't like Gone Girl, Sicario, and I forget what other movies. Seems to me that most people like myself enjoyed them. I wonder if Jim and Cecily have movies like that.
Anything David Lynch. God, I don't understand why people like David Lynch stuff, but okay. I'm not an art film guy.
Yeah, I struggle to think of specific releases. Like Gone Girl was troublesome for me, particularly. I think just movies that don't really have a point, but an idea. Movies that have just like a theme, an idea, but not really a point at the end, I think are really troublesome for me. But I can't think of anything in particular.
Got put on the spot. The moderator got put on the spot. Who moderates the moderator?
Yeah. Don't ask me questions anymore. This is your guys' problem.
We have a switch that drops a bunch of tungsten rods on her.
Can we make it like a Nickelodeon thing where you just drop like the green slime?
No,
on
if you
me?
tip him with Nickelodeon, it just accelerates the reaction.
It's cheaper, though.
It's cheaper. You save a lot of money.
Malco says, please give the oral history of the Bald Move and Starburns audio boardroom meeting when they were telling you guys all the great things the Rick and Morty collaboration would bring, and then they got to and potential interviews with guest stars such as Paul Giamatti.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Was there
It
a drive heave, awkward laughter, thinking they were joking, fear that the cocaine-riddled Paul would have seen the very Giamatti Christmas and canceled the whole deal?
I mean, I feel like if we ever interviewed him, there's no way we lead off with, we built this elaborate mythology that I think on balance is flattering or endearing, but if you ever tuned into any one element of it, it could go badly. I mean, it's like...
I don't think anything about what we did was flattering to the man.
No. I don't think anything.
But it's also not serious. Like, we're just fucking around. Like,
But I mean, we picked Paul Giamatti not because like he's a terrible actor. Like I you know, like the Riff Tracks guys have their whipping boys. Like we pick a guy who's like at like top of he's like one of the best character actors around.
yeah, but what kind of characters is he known for playing?
Whoa!
And
the founding father,
okay, fair.
super villain,
Also a giant rhinoceros man.
did some of his
Also a
best
truly
work.
pathetic alcoholic. Also
loving fathers,
an awful Canadian tree salesman. Like,
again, some of his best work.
deadbeat dad, criminal. Yeah, we've really covered the gamut. Not to mention what's actually in that fucking thing.
Santa Claus. He's played Santa Claus.
He has
sir.
played Santa Claus.
Sir.
Yeah,
Loved by
but
everyone.
I mean, we don't portray him in a positive
You
light.
mean in the
He's
hit
cocaine.
classic Fred Claus?
Uh-huh. I mean, he's cocaine obsessed. He's obsessed with how he looks in the spandex outfit. Like, he's a very neurotic person in the way we portrayed him.
Yeah, we portray him as if Paul Giamatti is his character from Sideways.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I mean, I don't know, the thing is, if I found out somebody was doing that to me, like, I don't know, some smart ass from Texas mixed up my shit to make it seem like I'm a pedophile or something, I think it would be very funny. So, like, if Paul has that kind of sense of humor, but
Sure.
if Paul's like, you know, like, it takes himself really serious and, you know, would see some stuff out of context and it would really bum me out. I will say that. But yeah, there's no fucking way we could ever like lead with like, hey, Paul.
No.
You know.
No, it's like you have a common friend that you talk shit about behind their backs all the time.
Yeah.
You don't feel obligated when you see that person in a group again to say, oh,
Right.
just so you know, before we start talking about whatever we're going to talk about, we had this hilarious joke about your specific personality, no matter how much they...
Or it's like
We spent 2 solid months working on a video of it fucking.
It would feel like, that Friends
But it was
episode.
never, I don't think it was ever like personal about him. And I
No.
think if you're doing it in the context of their professional work, and it's something that he, if you read interviews, is embraced.
You have to do.
Oh, no,
body
that's
of
the
work.
thing. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, that got brought up in some kind of context. Like, I don't even know how our profile would be raised high enough for this to happen. But if he did and I had read that, I would be like, oh, that's cool. He's got a sense of humor. I don't know, send him a bouquet or something. But I feel like if we
James
did that and went
Corden.
up to him, because there's nothing wrong with what we did, I don't think.
No.
But, like, it's like going back to Friends when Ross and Rachel had their cheat list. And Ross like scribbled Isabella Rossellini on some version of it, and they actually saw her in Manhattan. There's nothing wrong with that couple doing this kind of like cheat list just as a fun, sexy thing, but they made it her problem. So like, I don't want to ever make our fun Paul Giamatti's problem. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Especially when I have to explain to him that we actually wanted to get Leguizamo on, and we couldn't make,
that's
and
even
so
more
he was
difficult.
actually, but you were on a list, you were erased, but then we wrote you, oh yeah, that's embarrassing.
Okay, so I have the very last question for today from Travis. I had a thought a couple of weeks ago watching Legion and wondered if you agreed. Is Aubrey Plaza sneakily the most talented member of Parks and Rec? I mean, there are some really great talents. Obviously, Chris Pratt is doing great Pratt stuff. Rob Lowe has a long career with great credits. Aziz did some amazing stuff with Master of None, and his stand-up is really good. Polar, if you extend beyond acting, she's created and produced some great stuff too. And Offerman, don't forget, dude builds canoes and wrote at least one very good book. Rashida Jones, etc., etc., etc. But the work Plaza has done on Legion is some next level shit. Is she the best, most impressive of the lot? If not, what would you say? Did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Oh yeah, I watched
Okay.
a lot of it. Man,
It's tough because like until Legion, I thought she was pretty one-dimensional.
Yeah, she had that one.
Like she
snarky
had the
character.
weird girl gear that she took out in every interview and like every project I've ever seen, and then like the stuff she does on Legion is just mind-blowing. So it's hard to say, and also Chris Pratt, like that's the things like, what does Chris got serious dramatic chops?
I don't know. He's been by far the most successful of them, I would say.
Right.
But
Being
But that's
successful
just because
being
he
Chris
got
Pratt
in
like,
great shape.
yeah, he's
right,
either,
yeah.
he's either
He's
goofy,
handsome, he's in
cuddly,
good shape, and he's
Chris
funny.
Pratt, or he's cut, goofy, cuddly Chris Pratt.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I would stick with Chris Pratt as being the most evolved of the characters. Like he's always had the comedic timing. Even when they were doing Parks and Rec, he cracks
Yeah.
people up the most.
Oh, yeah.
And he continues that in his career. Maybe he's getting more serious as he goes, but
But
Aubrey
talented.
Plaza has really maintained that character.
That is a lot of talent on that cast. Holy moly.
yeah. When you were listing off the names, I was like, God damn, those are all
was
huge stars now.
Stacked with very
Like
funny.
Rob
funny,
Lowe was
talented
on it. He
people.
was already huge when he was on
Yeah.
there. Like,
They didn't even mention Ben Wyatt.
oh yeah,
What's his actual
Oh yeah, I blanked on his name too. Adam Scott.
Adam
Yeah.
Scott? Yep.
Yeah, Jesus, he's really good. He's really good in The Good Place.
Party Down.
And he plays the character in The Good Place. It's roughly like his asshole brother from Step Brothers. Because I was just thinking, like, I've never really seen him
Yes.
be an asshole before. I'm like, yes, I have. He's a total asshole in Step Brothers.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview about or with him, and that was a first like actual comedic thing that he had ever done was in Step Brothers, and he fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I guess he was trying to be a really serious
Yeah.
actor up until then, and then he found this role with comedy, and he's really nailing all of the comedy roles since then. I love Adam Scott because
Thank
he's one of
God.
those people like, what's his name, John Hamm, who does a lot of sneaky cameos and plays these bit funny parts or serious parts, and they can just be anywhere at any time, and you'll be like, well, he's not exactly one of those that guys, but they really blend in where they go, but are also recognizable at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. He's like a John Hamm.
But post
Purveyor
Parks
of
and Rec,
John's Hams.
I don't know. Aubrey Plaza has done some really standout dramatic work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think she's the most standout to answer Travis's question?
Probably, possibly.
I mean, it just depends because, like, I think there's funnier people. But, yeah, dramatically. I mean, Rob Lowe's probably the only other one in the conversation because he's done a lot of impressive work. But
after that?
Yeah, no.
I think coming into that, he was
that's what I'm saying.
the most.
I'm just saying, like, if you're talking about talent, you'd have to define what you mean by talented because there's a lot of talented people. But yeah, she's I would not have said that 5 years ago or immediately after the show, even though I really enjoyed her performance on that. But like after Legion, she's definitely in that conversation. I'm not giving you satisfaction of saying she's definitely the most talented.
I mean, I would definitely say Chris Pratt if he had done anything like seriously dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of just, funny guy.
Yeah, imagine if he has a Tom Hanks phase of his career, though.
Right.
I could see that.
But yeah, I'd say maybe Aubrey Plaza because she's done both comedy and drama and killed both of them. So
Chris Pratt needs a Tom Hanks phase.
Nobody can do a Tom Hanks phase.
That's bullshit.
He's one of the last pure people in this world.
I mean, he
Actors,
took over from
entertainers.
Jimmy Stewart. That's all. We
I'm
can
saying
get
that
one of those
all I'm
every
saying is that
generation.
literally no one else could do Fred Rogers other than Tom Hanks right now.
Probably true.
we don't have any Tom Hanks lined up.
Chris Pratt.
We don't know if he can pull it off. That's the problem. Is that we're not grooming anyone to replace Tom Hanks?
Also, let's not forget that Tom Hanks was in The Bachelor where they fucked a donkey.
Oh, Tom Hanks'
on a
early
pile
career
of cocaine
is all ridiculous comedy.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like just the jackass frat bro shit that Chris that people would say, oh, he could never be a Captain Kangaroo. It's like no.
I guess I'm bringing a lot
There
of
was
like
some-
their
Tom Hanks has
personal
some wild
ethos and life into all of that.
Huh?
Like, I guess I'm bringing
Oh,
a lot
I
of like their
guess.
personal ethos and life, and just like outside of their roles, who are they as people? Type
I
of
was
thing.
too young at the dawn of Tom Hanks, like in his bosom buddies bachelor party days. Like maybe he was like hung out with Jim Belushi or John Belushi and was like a party animal. I don't know.
Well, you don't know. That's the problem.
Chris
I mean,
Pratt's
that's
turning
the-
into
that's the
Chris
benefit, I
Pratt's
guess.
turning into one of those weird, goofy Christians I was talking about at the beginning of the podcast. Like, I don't know, man. You were cool, but something's off about it. And again, I'm not bagging him just on his Christian beliefs. I'm saying there's a particular strain to his Christianity that worries me.
Yeah, that's all I've got as far as questions go today. If you guys don't have anything else to say, then I will leave it at that. Next week we will not be doing a bald lunch
We will
with
not,
Jim
but
and
we'll be
Aaron.
roaring back the week after.
The week after that.
It'll be the Send Your Kids to School edition of Lunch with Jim and Aaron.
But that doesn't mean you can't start a thread during the next week. If you have questions or thoughts or anything like that, please feel free to send them into Twitter at #baldlunch or start a forum thread at forums.baldmove.com, and we will consider them not next week, but the week after when we return. That's all I've got.
If you're looking for something to do next Friday, there's like 273 lunches in the archives.
There's
true.
so many.
Although I imagine a good portion of people have seen them all.
Do you think we've made? No, we can't. I wonder how many days we have left to cover, like actual dates on the calendar.
Are you dying?
Yeah, I'm not going to be around much longer, guys. So we need to hurry up.
You seem so healthy, Jim.
No, I wonder how many dates on the calendar we have not had a lunch on. Just you know what I mean,
on
like
Fridays, yeah,
Ooh, it's very few.
yeah.
You guys have been doing this very consistently.
I think we skip like
for years.
two or
There was-
three a year.
There was like one.
Well, no, we
that
there's
I-
always like the most of December we don't have one.
Well,
no,
the
that's
holi-
not true.
No. There's only
Like,
a few
right around the holiday, yeah.
times
Yeah,
that you
there's
guys
always-
skip, but those are always pre-planned absences
I would say 4 or 5 a year we probably skip.
out of 52 calendar weeks.
It's not bad.
it's 10%.
I like them. I mean, it's like this is
That's
one of the,
great
this is one of the more
track
fun
record.
things we do, which is saying a lot because like there's not very many painful things we do on mic, especially since we ditched The Walking Dead. Heyo! Get Get us out of here. We got a long drive ahead of us.
I already did.
I can just turn the video off whenever I want.
Yeah.
I did my
Don't
outro.
threaten.
I
Do
tried to
it.
give you
All
guys
right,
an out,
fine.
but you kept bringing it back.
Dude,
Okay.
you bastard, do
I
it.
got more questions if you guys want to answer more.
Let's go into another round of questions.
Ah, gee.